Hello guys, Mike here. Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection is back. And today's special salute to a filmmaker who kind of revolutionized the horror movie as we know it. I want to talk a little bit about James Whale. You know, he directed Frankenstein and The Invisible Man and Bride of Frankenstein and just beyond classic movies. You know what I mean? James Whale, and he's best known for those for the most part, but he did so many other little movies, and a lot of his movies aren't on official releases and stuff. So today I got a lot of his kind of little odds and ends movies and everything. So I just wanted to kind of talk about James Whale a little bit and all that good stuff, and show these interesting movies that I found. And you'll be very surprised how how these movies are. So hang on to your seats, guys, because we are going to talk about James Whale. Okay, where do we start at? Let me start with these. Universal has put out a couple of collections in 4K of the Universal Monster collections. They released one. It's got 4 movies on it in 4K, and then they've come out with a second one that's got 4 movies on it. So I guess that's how they're going to do and put them out on 4K that way. But first one I want to talk about, this is first one. Let's see. Yeah, this is the first one that came out. And of course it's got Frankenstein and The Invisible Man, 2 James Whale movies with Dracula and the Wolfman. This is a killer release. Frankenstein and Invisible Man look very good. They look really, really good. I'm glad I got this. I mean, they really do put these out a lot. You know what I mean? There's so many releases of the Universal monster movies and everything. And I have multiple editions, DVD. There's special editions, like in packaging and, slip covers. There's been all kinds of stuff. Like they did slip covers that were glow in the dark and yada, yada, yada. But anyways, yeah, Frankenstein, the movie that put him on the map, 1931. But before that, he did a movie called Waterloo Bridge, which I have on a Forbidden Hollywood collection, which is pretty good. And then he did, the first movie he did was based on the play, what was it called? Dang, I can't think of it. But anyways, he came to Hollywood. He was a very successful theatrical actor, producer. He put on a lot of shows. He was in World War I. He was a prisoner in a German POW camp, where he really got the bug for putting on shows and stuff. Very theatrical. So anyways, he comes to Hollywood, and the rest is history. But this set's got Frankenstein, and then it's got The Invisible Man, which is 1933. 2 very successful and very iconic and classic releases by James Whale. So the second one, this only has 1 James Whale movie, but this is the second 4K release that came out recently. And this one's got The Mummy, Bride of Frankenstein, which is James Whale's. It's got The Creature from the Black Lagoon and Phantom of the Opera, the 1943 Technicolor extravaganza, which I always think it doesn't really belong with those. I don't know. It's probably my least favorite of all the Universal. I'd rather watch the original with Lon Chaney Sr. Of the Phantom of the Opera. But anyways, there you go. You got Bride of Frankenstein in 4K and The Mummy in 4K. I haven't watched The Mummy yet in 4K. But yeah, this is a good release. So just thought I would kind of show those, because those are pretty new for me. And let me see this one. Now this movie was a real surprise. This came out from Kino this past year. And this is another one of those like little oddball movies. I call them oddball because they're just so almost obscure in a way by a well-known director. I mean, James Whale will forever be attached to Frankenstein, unfortunately, which was, you know, almost a curse. You know, it's almost like Henry Frankenstein and the curse of the monster he created. It kind of had real life connotations on James Whale. I mean, he was forever remembered for that, and you know, I think he used to think that, you know, that's that's his thing. That's all he's going to be remembered for and everything. But this was a really cool drama, kind of a comedic drama. This is a new 4K restoration by Universal Pictures. In 4K, they used the original 35 millimeter original film elements. And this is a movie called By Candlelight. And it came out in 1933, so I think it was right after he did The Invisible Man, or right before he did The Invisible Man. But, you know, some people would think, well, it's one of those, you know, kind of stately English drawing room dramas or something, but it's really not. It's got so much of James Whale's, you know, kind of wink wink, nudge nudge, his kind of his witty writing and pushing the envelope. This is still pre-code and everything. Let me read a little bit about it. Universal's finest horror director, James Whale, brilliantly shifts genres with this dazzling pre-code romantic comedy By Candlelight. Joseph, played by Paul Lucas, is the ultra-dutiful butler to a Casanova-like prince, played by Niels Asher, falling in love with Marie, played by Alyssa Landy, whom he assumes to be a countess, and Joseph masquerades quite convincingly as his rakish master. The catch, Marie herself is a poser, a mere maidservant of nobility. Based on P.G. Woodhouse's adaptation of a Siegfried Gier play, By Candlelight is a delightfully sophisticated farce of class privilege and mistaken identity that ranks as one of Whale's most extraordinary achievements. It's got a commentary by Troy Howarth. But really, man, I was really surprised by this. I thought maybe this was just going to be an average, like, kind of a drama thing or thingamajig or whatever. But it was really funny. The leads, even though I wasn't very familiar with these actors, I mean, I've heard of Paul Lucas before, but the other actors I've never heard of, let alone seen anything they've been in. But very well made. I mean, beautifully, you know, I don't know if it says anything about the cinema. No, it doesn't say anything about the cinematography, but he kind of worked with a couple of cinematographers, basically on most of his, you know, Universal stuff. Maybe I'll put their names down here if I can think about it. But Candlelight, I really do recommend this. This was a real surprise and everything. I really enjoyed it. So it's you know, I get to add it to my James Whale collection. Now the next one, I may have shown this before. This was released maybe a couple years ago. But anyways, this is also from Kino. This is also a 2K master from Universal and everything. This is Kiss Before the Mirror. Now, this has also been released by Indicator with different packaging, some extras and stuff on it. But this is the Kino version. Again, another one of those witty, charming, dramatic movies, you know. And you see a lot of the stuff that he kind of did with Frankenstein. I mean, working with the cinematographers he did and set designers and stuff. And he really has that James Whale look, if you know what I mean. But anyways, this was also made in 1933. He was quite busy. Three movies in 1933. It's only 69 minutes, so it's a really breezy, you know, movie. It's got a great cast of supporting people to think about. Who stars in this is Nancy Carroll, who had previously worked in some of the early Alfred Hitchcock movies. Frank Morgan, better known as the great and powerful Oz in Wizard of Oz. Frank Morgan, you recognize him by his voice. Just, it's Frank Morgan, and he was in a lot of good movies besides Wizard of Oz. But he's in this playing the lead. I mean, sometimes it's like it kind of, I don't know, watching Frank Morgan sometimes, because it's like, God, he's the freaking Oz, man. He just, that Wizard of Oz connection stays with it, you know what I mean? But because of his voice and stuff. But a very good actor nonetheless. It's got Paul Lucas, Gloria Stewart, very beautiful. Some of you newbies out there might know her as the old lady in the James Cameron's Titanic movie, who lost her necklace and everything. But she was very beautiful, and she was in a couple of movies James Whale made back then. Gene Dixon, Donald Cook. Now, Donald Cook is somebody that, watching these movies of James Whale and stuff, he was in like all these movies I've watched and stuff. And I don't know, this past couple of weeks I've been watching movies. It's like Donald Cook shows up in all these movies and stuff. Maybe I'll put his picture there. But I believe he was in The Public Enemy with James Cagney. I think he was the brother or the partner. I think the brother or something like that. I think it was that, or Little Caesar he was in. But you know his face when you see it. Where am I at? Walter Pidgeon, which is early role from him. I mean, he went on to have a very long, successful career at MGM and stuff, but this is, early on in his career. So let me read this briefly so I can try to keep this episode under 3 hours long. James Whale, legendary director of Frankenstein, of course they have to recommend that again, comes this daring drama with a touch of macabre, starring Nancy Carroll, Frank Morgan, Gloria Stewart. When Walter Bernsdorf kills his wife for having an affair, lawyer Paul Held, played by Frank Morgan, takes on the case, suggesting that Walter could be acquitted by means of temporary insanity. But Paul not only realizes that his defense may work, but that also some of the behavioral patterns Walter's wife showed in regard to her infidelity are appearing in his own wife, played by Nancy Carroll. Paul realizes that if this defense could work once, it may work for a second time. So The Kiss Before the Mirror is a riveting pre-code thriller, beautifully shot in glorious black and white by the great Carl Freund. Did gosh, look what he's made. The Mummy. He directed The Mummy. He did photography on The Last Laugh, Metropolis, and Key Largo. Not too shabby, huh? He also was the main cameraman on the I Love Lucy show. I think that's how he finished his career out. But anyways, A Kiss Before the Mirror, it's a good movie. The more you watch it, the more you enjoy it. It's it may come off kind of slightly stiff the first time you see it, but as you watch it again, you realize it's not stagey or anything, and it's the actors and the direction and everything, just the look. It has that James Whale touch to it, and it's really good. So A Kiss Before the Mirror, recommend that. Now this was something I got off the shelf. This came out a few years ago. I really love this movie. This is another one that every time you watch it, it's just you enjoy it more and more. And it's a musical. Don't get me wrong. But it's a good musical. You can handle it. The set design. I mean, from the very moment it opens with, it's doing its titles, Showboat, and the movie I'm going to talk about, Showboat. But it's just this great opening with like a you know, like this, all this, just the production, the design is so huge. It's just wow, you know. But yeah, this is Showboat. This is from 1936. This would be probably the last big production for Universal that James Whale would do, because right after this, the Laemmles, Carl Laemmle Sr. and Jr., were kind of ousted from the company. They were having a lot of financial problems. There was a takeover or something like that, and Carl Laemmle Jr., the son and everything, he is totally and absolutely responsible for all these classic movies, Frankenstein and The Mummy and Phantom of the Opera, and just all these classic movies that we love. I mean, and there's so many other movies that he oversaw, for Universal. Some of the other horror movies like like The Black Cat and stuff like that. But yeah, and then when he went, it kind of, James Whale kind of went too. But yeah, the Showboat, 1936, great musical, very funny. It's got some real funny scenes in it, and characters and supporting actors that you really care about. I mean, it's just a great cast, a good script, and everything. It had previously they tried to make it in 1929 as a semi-talkie, semi-silent musical for Universal. This Criterion edition shows like 3 scenes from it, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It looks like they just set a camera up and some people on a stage. I mean, it don't look good at all. So by comparison, this is like, it's like Gone with the Wind and Plan 9 from Outer Space. I mean, yeah, or something like that. The difference is huge, But yeah, Showboat, really, really good. It's got some great extras on here. There's a really cool salute to James Whale on here. It kind of talks about his career and everything. But man, great movie. Starring Irene Dunn. She's hilarious. I mean, she's actually from my home state, Louisville, Kentucky, and she's absolutely hilarious in like The Awful Truth and some movies like that. But she just has this, I don't know what it is about her. Just her personality and just that smile and that glimmer in her eyes and just the natural humor of her, and just really, really good. But it's based on, the Oscar Hammerstein II lyrics, Jerome Kern with the music. So James Whale kind of pumped up the script a little bit and changed it around. He kind of added some stuff to it. It had been on Broadway, of course. It was a big hit and everything. But yeah, Irene Dunn. It's got Alan Jones. He was kind of back and forth to MGM. He was in A Night at the Opera, the Marx Brothers movie. It's got Charles Winnegar. He's the Commodore, the captain of the ship. He's very funny too. He's the father of Irene Dunn. Helen Morgan, and it's got the great Paul Robeson, the great the great black actor and singer and activist and everything, which he was quite a figure if you think about it, in 1936, and to be prestigious, and respected on the stage and respected here and there, and to be a black man in that time was something, and there's some scenes where he sings, of course he sings Old Man River, which is very famous, but you look in some of the scenes where you got these other black actors, and those black actors probably, were treated like crap. Paul Robeson was, the superstar, so stuff. So it's kind of weird how that, typical of that time frame and everything. But really, man, it's just such a good movie. It's got some other people in it. Oh, it's got Hattie McDaniel, who, famous Gone with the Wind. Helen Morgan. It's got a great bunch of stuff. I mean, it's based on Edna Ferber's, sprawling novel and everything. But man, it's really good. And this is a great edition by Criterion Collection. They had put this out in the late 80s on Laserdisc, I believe, and I have that. There was two versions. There was a CLV and a CAV version on Laserdisc from Criterion, and they put this out. But yeah, this is great. This movie only gets better every time you see it. It's a lot of fun. Oh, I'm dropping my glasses. Okay, next up, this was a rewatch. I had to kind of throw this in just to, some of the great James Whale stuff. So I put in the Blu-ray from the Cohen Film edition of the Oh Dark House. Really good. This is from a new 4K restoration from a few years ago. I previously had a very, very old Kino DVD edition of it. So this was like, wow. I mean, they did such a great job on this. But the Old Dark House, 1932. I think this was directly after Frankenstein, I believe. I think they were trying to get him. They were trying to pigeonhole him in like horror. So it almost worked. And then he was like, "No, I want to do this," But very good. I mean, the cast. I mean, you got gosh. What's the cast here? Oh, okay. I forget stuff, but yeah, it's got Gloria Stewart again, and she's looking, fabulous as usual. Very beautiful woman. Did a lot of great stuff. She's not remembered much for that, as she is, like, say, the Titanic, 50, 60 years later, But great cast. Of course, it's got Boris Karloff as the butler, which is just what a crazy performance. It's got Melvin Douglas and Charles Laughton was in this. This is one of his first roles after coming over from England and from the stage and everything. He's married to Elsa Lancaster at the time, which would work with James Whale as the Bride of Frankenstein. But yeah, produced by Carl Laemmle Jr., directed by James Whale, and now it's just it's just the macabre humor of it, kind of, they're all in this house. There's a torrential rainstorm outside, and this group of 4 people get their car stuck, and they make it up to this creepy old house, and it's like, and then they meet these characters. They meet the butler as Boris Karloff, and God, I can't think of the other people. It's the one guy from Bride of Frankenstein, and the woman, I think, from something. He uses a lot of the same, people in a lot of his movies and stuff. But yeah, the Old Dark House. If you haven't seen this yet, I don't know what to say. But yeah, it's an early movie. It's pre-code. It's it's just a great movie. A lot of fun, everything. And I recommend that. Okay, now these next 3 movies are all brand new. These are brand new. I had never seen them before. Until I started really researching and looking, I didn't know these were even available. So I want to start off with this one. This is from 1940. This is a later movie for James Whale, and I think he's still at Universal at this point. But I'm not sure who made these editions. This is, again, like Hollywood scrap heap type of stuff. But this isn't this. This is just something somebody's made up. They did the artwork. They burned a disc and put it in there. I mean, it looks great. I mean, the packaging is just beautiful, really. But yeah, this is a movie called Green Hell, and it's kind of a in the jungle adventure, kind of a drama, kind of a thriller, suspense and stuff. It's got Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and Joan Bennett, Alan Hale. It's got a young Vincent Price, one of his first roles, and George Sanders also. Really good. Vincent Price gets killed off really quickly in the movie, unfortunately. But what I noticed about these, now the packaging is beautiful, check. The movie itself, the resolution, how it looks, great. I'm like, wow, where did he find this stuff? But what's funny is watching the movie. Like at different points through the movie, you'll see the TCM logo pop up. So this was, you know, copied off TCM and everything. But he did a really good, sharp picture on this. I mean, it looks really good. So whoever created this, I really, you know, take my hat off to him, because that's really good job. And unfortunately, this is the only release of this. It's hard to find. There's just these crappy, you know, and stuff. So maybe Kino or somebody will finally come around to this and put out an official release and stuff. But Green Hell is really good. It's kind of one of those, you know, stuck in the jungle kind of things and everything. But he did a really good job on it, you know, for a later movie in his career. So yeah, I highly recommend that. You can find that on eBay. Just search for it. You might be able to find it on Amazon, but a lot of times Amazon is more expensive and stuff like that. Now this next one, same company, same really nice artwork. The case is great. The disc is great. Picture's great. And it's another TCM, copied off TCM, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with that. That's cool. It looks good. And I can pop it in and watch it anytime, and it looks great, you know. But I don't mind the TCM banner coming up there, because, you know, personally, I would have copied it off there too. But this next one's from 1934. This is a movie called One More River, and this was a big surprise too. I really like this movie, and you can find this on eBay and everything, and it's maybe $12, maybe something like that. But man, I was so satisfied with buying this. I was so happy about it. Again, you know, you got the TCM logo pops up here and there. Big deal. It looks great. I mean, this was a great movie. I finally got to see the actress Diana Wynyard. She was a British stage actress, very, very successful. Came to Hollywood in the 30s, like a lot of people did. She did, you know, some sporadic movies, and she went back to the stage. But she is very beautiful and a really good actress on here. You know, British actress, and everything was really good. But let me read a little bit about this, because this was a great movie. Lady Claire Colvin, played by Diana Wynyard, is the wife of Sir Gerald Colvin, played by Colin Clive, Henry Frankenstein himself. And by all appearances, they are a happy upper-class British couple, but Lady Claire is anything but happy. Sir Gerald is physically and emotionally abusive towards her, and one day she decides that she can't take no more and leaves him behind. And Lady Claire books a passage on a ship where she's befriended by a kind and handsome young man named Tony Croom, played by Frank Lawton. Though their relationship remains strictly platonic, Tony obviously has strong feelings for Lady Claire, which does not go unnoticed by the private detective hired by Sir Gerald to keep tabs on his wife. But yeah, there's all these actors that's been in all these, like, James Whale movies up to that point, pop up in it, like all these supporting actors and actresses and stuff. And man, it's good. It really did. I mean, when I first bought it, I thought, man, I don't know, is this going to be, you know, same thing like with By Candlelight, you know, it's going to be a stuffy drawing room parlor drama, you know, stuffy and blah blah blah. But no, it's really good. It's very inventive. The camera is just like, I mean, very inventive. Got some great scenes, and Colin Clive as the abusive husband is really good. I mean, he was getting later. Well, he had his problems. You know, he was a very bad alcoholic and stuff like that. But he's really mean. You can tell he's very mean. He's got this like mean streak in him, you know, and stuff like that. And it's very believable, everything. But very good movie, very good. I do recommend this, guys. Get this, Green Hell. I don't think you'll be disappointed, especially if you're a true James Whale fan. I don't think you'll, you know, not like it at all. But yeah, very, very good. And finally, guys, this was another one I picked up, and I was surprised that it was on the Warner Archive collection, because this was another late late in the game for James Whale. I think this was, 1937. And he went to Warner Brothers to make this. So this was, a big deal and stuff later in his career. This is a movie called The Great Garrick. And I was also surprised to see that Olivia de Havilland was in this. So here's the story about it. The inn, like a hotel service, is rude, even quarrelsome. Is this any way to treat a guest who is the most respected Shakespearean of his day? And it is if you're part of a theatrical group posing as innkeepers and trying to give the renowned but pompous David Garrick his comeuppance. Garrick, however, is aware of the ruse, and he's convinced that the young, recently arrived countess, who seems to be falling in love with him, is the worst actress of the bunch. But that's where the great one goes wrong. She's not part of the troupe at all. Shocker. All the world's a stage, and there are many fine players in this gleeful backstage costume comedy. Olivia de Havilland as the Countess, Brian Aherne as Garrick, and a clever ensemble. Have a great time. So yeah, really interesting. I mean, in reading this, it says, directed by James Whale, but it says personally supervised by Mervyn LeRoy, which I'm not really sure what that means. I think I'm going to do some research on it and find out what that means. I mean, that usually means there's some kind of problem of some sort. But yeah, another great cast. It's got the Lionel Atwell. He's always fun. It's got a very young Lana Turner, probably one of her first roles. Marie Wilson, and it's got Edward Everett Horton. He's always a hoot in any movie he's in. But yeah, very very cool, very interesting. I mean, this was a complete surprise to me. I may have, read it looking at his filmography over the years, but never really looked at it, read about it, or anything. So it was really interesting. A good addition to my James Whale collection. There's still quite a few out there that are just hard to find, or just really horrible copies out there and stuff. So I'll keep on and hoping new ones will come out and stuff like that to add with it. And then I'll check in with you in probably however long with some new stuff. But the last thing I want to show is I've also been reading a book for off and on for about a year or so. But this is James Curtis's book about James Whale. James Whale, A New World of Gods and Monsters, which is basically his autobiography. And it's fascinating. It really is fascinating. He's got so much good stuff in it. It's kind of, they made that movie in like 2002 with Brandon Fraser called Gods and Monsters, which is, James Whale meeting the gardener guy, which that's all made up. That never happened and stuff. But you can kind of put that with this, kind of color in some stuff in your mind as you read it. But yeah, highly recommend this book. James Whale, A New World of Gods and Monsters. Really cool. It's kind of cool to read his autobiography and then kind of watch some of his movies at the same time. So it's pretty cool. So there you go, guys. I wanted to do this for a while just to show some James Whale stuff off, and I just came across these new movies and stuff. I mean, I got 4 new James Whale movies in the past month, so I just thought I'll do a movie or do an episode about it and everything. So there you go, guys. I hope I didn't talk too long. But yeah, check out James Whale. I mean, start with Frankenstein and go from there. There's so many good movies that he's made, and they're just rewatchable all day long. So there you go, guys. So let me know in the comments what you think. Give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and check out my videos and everything. So there you go, guys. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope I've informed you a little bit. But anyways, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Watch good movies.